Hey everybody, it's Michelle Tam from Nom Nom Paleo, and today I am back because last week I wasn't here, but every Wednesday I come on live here from my home kitchen to show you how to cook something. So today, for a lot of you, is the last day of your Whole30. Hooray! Right on? Yay! Yay. And so and I was posting every single day, and today was my last post for January. So I'm thankful too, because now I can actually take a breather and just go back to my regular weekly or bi-weekly or once a month posting or whatever it is that I normally do. But the thing I posted about today was Asian soups and Whole30 Asian soups, because to me that is the most comforting and hearty one-pot meals that I like to eat. And for a lot of you guys who are watching this through the polar vortex, this is the perfect food that you should make during this time. And if you're wondering, where is my little sidekick today? Well, he is sleeping on the couch because he had an overnight trip, and he was fine up until 2 p.m. when he said, "Mommy, I don't feel so good." And so he's just been sleeping on the couch. But my friend, Bo, who is camera shy, is here behind the camera, and she will be like the person in the audience asking questions, because are you an experienced cook?
No, not at all.
So she can be you if you are an inexperienced cook. But today, Owen is still here, so it's just me and Owen working this little Facebook Live. Say hello. And so Owen will read questions out loud that you guys type. Lauren Wade, our master builder behind the scene, will actually type answers to all your questions. And one lucky viewer who is watching this live broadcast and asks a question or says hello, one of you will be randomly picked to win the Nom Nom Paleo swag, which will be a signed But You're Not cookbook, a signed Nom Nom Paleo, our original cookbook, these Nom Nom Paleo socks, which you can't buy anywhere, which are perfect for the polar vortex, magic mushroom powder, which is amazing, and you can buy at Whole Foods. And actually, that's why I won't be here next week, because we are going to be flying out on Wednesday to Colorado to talk magic mushroom powder with our co-packer and Whole Foods. So that's why we won't be here next week, but we'll be here the following week. And you'll win a mini Michelle action figure as well. So today, I'm going to show you how to make one of those Whole30 Asian soups that I posted about today on nomnompaleo.com. It is my hot and sour soup, which is actually a recipe from our Ready or Not cookbook, which you could win if you just say hello and make a comment. So all I'm doing here is I'm heating up this pot. This recipe is also on the blog, so if you go to nomnompaleo.com, and I'm sure Lauren, because he's amazing, is already posting the recipe link, because some of you may already be asking.
He just did.
And it's also, see, I can read his mind. And it's also on our iOS blog, app. So if you look on the app, it is also there. So I'm just heating up a large saucepan. I'm going to add a little bit of avocado oil. In terms of, I'm going to turn this down, it's kind of hot. In terms of cooking fats, I do like avocado oil and ghee for my Asian recipes, because they have a high smoke point and they don't have any weird, I don't think it has any strong flavor. So that's what I use. So what I just put in here, so what did you put in there? I just had one medium leek, or actually one large leek, just the white and the light yellow part, that I julienned. And julienne just means you cut into these little matchsticks.
Someone asked how you should use your magic mushroom powder, and another person asked if you could use it, buy it online.
You can't buy it online yet. In fact, one of the things that I want to talk about in our meeting next week is how we can get it online for all of you wonderful folks out in the internet. I use it in place of salt in almost every single recipe, except for, I don't know that I've used it necessarily in a lot of my Asian recipes, but any of my non-Asian recipes, I use it in place of salt. And I have a bunch of recipes that use it, especially this last month. I have a bunch of, like my umami roast chicken, but I think my meatballs and marinara sauce, I use the magic mushroom powder to season the broccolini. My new easy paleo meatloaf, which is crammed with vegetables, is seasoned with magic mushroom powder, and my kids love it. So that's just one of the recipes. So I'm just sauteing this. It's not like you have to make it really brown. Okay, I'm going to add some minced ginger and some minced garlic. And Bo's going to tell me if I'm doing any of these steps wrong. But basically, the ginger and the garlic I add near the end, and when you can smell it, which is why I coughed, that's when you add your mushrooms in, right? Is that about right?
Correct.
Lo may not be good at cooking, but she is good at reading instructions. So what I have here is I have a 1/4 pound of fresh shiitake mushrooms that I thinly sliced. You can totally use dried shiitake mushrooms. In fact, those taste better. But I don't have any. I didn't have any ready to do that. So I'm just going to saute this until the mushrooms start releasing a little bit of their liquid. Am I supposed to put the pork in yet, or do I wait until, what does it say to do? Do I cook the mushrooms and stuff first? I kind of want to put the pork in because I can see that there's some ginger and garlic that are sticking to the bottom, and I know that by adding the pork has a little liquid in it, and so it will kind of loosen the stuff on the bottom.
Another thing, what section of Whole Foods?
Is this right?
Yes, that's correct.
So what section
Oh,
of...
did I put the garlic and ginger too fast? I think I did, actually.
You did it a little bit ahead.
A little early. That's
Yeah.
why I was like, that's why it's sticking to the bottom.
Oh. Someone asked what section of Whole Foods you can find your magic mushroom powder, and let's see, someone else asked.
Wait, let me answer that question first.
Okay.
So where you can find, magic mushroom powder, which looks like this, is available only in brick and mortar Whole Food stores for now. Depending on which region you're in, they may be in different places. Like in Northern California, they're really good to me, and they have it at the meat counter, they have it in the spice aisle, and I've also seen it next to the fresh mushrooms and produce. They're all over in the Northern California stores. My sister, who lives in Florida, told me that she found it in the Asian food section because, I guess, I am Asian. But, you know, magic mushroom powder is not necessarily for Asian food. But I would say for most people it's the spice aisle. But if you can't find it, just ask customer service and they can find it for you if it's in some weird place. Or they can order it for you, because they can definitely order it without any problems. Okay, so I'm just stirring this around. And again, actually now would be the time to add the ginger and the garlic because you don't want it to stick to the bottom. But luckily, I think the pork juices have kind of lifted that up. And it's okay. It's okay if you don't do things exactly right. This is cooking, and you just, luckily it's not baking. Baking is when you have to worry. But this is a pound of pork that I thinly sliced. There's lots of different options you can use. I used thin boneless pork loin pork chops because they're already sliced thin against the grain. And then I just cut it up into matchsticks.
So,
so I think I've put in the bamboo shoots now, right?
Correct.
Is that right? So this is just canned bamboo shoots that I drained and I rinsed. And I just bought this Dynasty brand. This is always in the Asian food section of a regular grocery store, but you can find them also at Asian grocery stores. This one, the ingredients are only bamboo shoots and water, so there's no weird stuff, there's no... And when I actually tasted one, that after it's been rinsed and drained, it actually just tastes kind of normal, like a plain bamboo shoot, which actually has not that much flavor.
So, a bunch of people have asked if you could sub something for the pork.
Yes, and in my recipe, I tell people you can totally use thinly sliced. I like chicken thigh better than chicken breast, but you can also use like sliced beef sirloin. So yeah, you can use, I mean, vegetarian people can use tofu. I mean, it's not paleo, but that's what you can use. Okay, so as soon as the pork is no longer pink, oh, actually I'm supposed to add some coconut aminos to this, right?
Huh.
See, this is when I'm supposed to add the coconut aminos and the minced garlic and the ginger, but I put in the garlic and ginger a little ahead of time. And the reason why I don't advise doing it early is because you can burn the garlic and the ginger. And if you have burned garlic or ginger, it can totally ruin the taste of whatever you're making. And so if you add it at the end, you don't normally burn it, but you cook it enough so that the aroma kind of permeates everything. But I hope I didn't burn it, but if not, my family will still have to eat it. Alright, so now is the time when you add the broth. So the pork is basically all done, and I'm cheating because I have a sick kid and I don't have any extra bone broth. So this is the bone broth I bought. I really like this bone broth. They're not a sponsor. It's Rolly Roti's Butcher's Bone Broth. It's organic chicken. It's super thick, which is great. Okay, so you put in 6 cups. Oh, and if you buy this at Costco, I know at least at the Costco's in the San Francisco Bay Area, you can buy 2 of these for like $9, which is a really, really, really good price for bone broth that's organic and you know, gelatinous, because this is super gelatinous. Okay, so this is 3 cups. So you're going to use 2 of these, or use your own, of course. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pour half a cup into this measuring cup, because we're going to use this to make like an arrowroot slurry to thicken the soup, because a lot of people are used to hot and sour soup being really thick and goopy, because that's how they make it in Chinese American restaurants. And so I will also thicken it for you with some arrowroot powder. And what's really funny is this is a soup, like people are like, oh, did you grow up drinking hot and sour soup? I'm like, no, it's actually not like necessarily a traditional you know, Cantonese dish, because my parents are Cantonese. But it is a popular Chinese American dish, just like a lot of other dishes, like egg foo young, mugu gai pan. What are other Chinese American?
Chop suey.
Chop suey. So these aren't, and or all those different chow mein where they have those crunchy like noodles. Like that's not traditional.
Isn't
Chinese.
that like Hong Kong style or whatever?
No, they actually have these deep fried chunky noodles
like
on the bottom.
The thick ones.
Yeah, and so I actually tried a lot of these foods once I started dating Henry, because Henry's family ran a Chinese American restaurant called Fong's in Castro Valley. And so when I would go with him to visit his parents' restaurant, because he actually had to work, I think, every weekend when we were, you know, going to Berkeley together, I got to try all sorts of Chinese American food that I never got to eat, because my parents always insisted on authentic Cantonese food. And so we never got to eat like Chinese American food, right, Bo? Like,
I agree.
Yeah. And so when I first tried stuff like egg foo young and hot and sour soup, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good, but it's not something I grew up having. So what I'm doing here is I'm just, I put in the broth, so it's 5½ cups of broth, and I just want to bring it up to a boil. So I've turned the heat up so it'll boil as fast as possible. But everything in there is already cooked. Like the pork is cooked, the vegetables are already cooked. I just need to bring it up to a simmer, because I'm going to be adding, you know, this arrowroot powder slurry. I'm going to add the eggs, and then the rest of the seasoning. So people are like, what about the stuff that makes it hot and sour? So what makes it hot and sour is white pepper is what makes it hot. And people are like, really? It's not some sort of pepper or something? No, it's just white pepper. And it's specifically white pepper, as opposed to black pepper, because that's what is traditionally used. And if you smell it, it's really different smelling than black pepper. And when I did a search about what it is, like so black pepper is unripe berries from a pepper tree that they dry until they turn black, and then they grind it up. Whereas white pepper are those same berries, but they let them ripen, but then they take off the outer layer of it and they ferment it, or I think they ferment it and the outer layer comes off. And then when they dry it, it's actually white, but it actually has a much more like complex flavor. It's not as sharp, but it's definitely like a very unique, very like hot and sour soup type of flavor. Like if you use a different type, if you use black pepper or a different type of like chili, it's not going to taste the same. And then in terms of what you use for the sour, because it's hot and sour soup, traditionally it's a type of vinegar, which is a black rice vinegar called, I think, Chin Kiang vinegar or something. It's whatever region in China that it's from. But that traditionally is fermented with wheat, and so it's not gluten-free. And if you actually buy the black rice vinegar at an Asian market, not only does it have like wheat in it, but it also probably has sugar and some other seasoning. So I was experimenting with different things that are Whole30 friendly and paleo friendly, and regular old rice vinegar works just as well. And if you can't find rice vinegar, you can use apple cider vinegar. And it is pretty similar. Obviously, if you're a purist, you're like, that is not the same. But, as I told you before, this is not actually an authentic Chinese dish. So it's okay. You can make it with real food ingredients, and it'll still be delicious. And in fact, Bo here does not like traditional hot and sour soup. I said, maybe if you try this, you might like it. But she might not like it, and it's okay. People can have different opinions, right, Bo?
Correct.
Okay. So this is coming up to a boil. I have my half cup of broth that's reserved here, and then I have 1.5 tablespoons of arrowroot powder. This is just in place of cornstarch. Cornstarch is what's normally used to thicken, you know, almost all things in Chinese food, but it's not considered paleo. And so I'm going to plop that in. And the reason why you don't just plop this straight in is because it'll form clumps. You have to mix it in to some sort of liquid to so then it'll incorporate well. But the problem with arrowroot compared to cornstarch is it can break down if you keep on heating the broth. And so I add it as soon as it's boiling, and then I turn off the heat as soon as this thickens. But you know, the thickness doesn't actually help with anything. It's just kind of a texture thing. And if you want to avoid starches, you can just leave it out. Like some people say, oh, when I reheat my leftovers, it's not thick anymore. And I'm like, that's okay. It's not a big deal. But if you really care, you can just add some fresh arrowroot slurry. You can just mix some with a little water. It's normally like a 2-to-1 dilution. Like you can do like a little bit of arrowroot powder and then 2 times the amount of like water, and then you could dump it in and make it thick again.
So how do we make this spicy, and is this recipe in the app?
This recipe is in the app, and it's spicy from the white pepper. And it's not actually super duper hot and spicy, it's just like the spiciness from the white pepper. But if you want to make it hot, you can add jalapenos, you can add Thai chili, you can add whatever you want to make it super hot. But if you want it the way it's served at a Chinese restaurant, it's actually not that spicy, right? Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit spicy and a little bit sour, not crazy sour and not crazy spicy. It's balanced. All right, so this is almost boiling. And so while I'm waiting for this, once it boils, then I'll put in the reserve broth and the arrowroot slurry. And then I'll also put in the 2 whisked eggs. So I have 2 eggs here. So I'm just gonna crack them here. And I'm going to whisk it up. And if you saw, I didn't crack it on the side of the bowl because that's how you can get eggshell into your bowl. But if you crack it on a flat surface, it doesn't normally cause that problem. So I'm just going to whisk it.
So why do you use arrowroot instead of cornstarch? And does Whole Foods carry roti? Is it shelf stable, or refrigerated?
Okay, so that was a lot of questions. The first question was
arrowroot.
Arrowroot. Okay, so cornstarch is not considered paleo because corn is not paleo. But if you tolerate it, you can use corn. I mean, it's up to you. But if you want to keep it Whole30 friendly and paleo friendly, you would use arrowroot powder. Roti is available at Whole Foods, but it is way cheaper at Costco. So we can get it at Costco. Because I think, okay, so it's like $4 something at Costco. I think at Whole Foods it's like $6.99 or even higher. And I've seen it at other grocery stores for $9.99. If you can get it at Costco, it's like 2 for 1. And as like a child of Chinese immigrants, that I like that sale. Okay, so you can see here it's bubbling and boiling. So this is the arrowroot slurry, and I'm just gonna mix this in. And again, I'm whisking it because it's always just gonna make a suspension, not like a true solution. And so this is me mixing it in. It should thicken it. Obviously, if you like it thicker, you can add more later, but I don't like it super thick. And so I'm just gonna cook it until it thickens. This is actually kind of how much I like it thickened.
How do you feel about the ginger garlic paste that comes in the jar?
How do I feel about the ginger garlic paste that comes in? Oh, there's ginger paste and garlic paste. I think they don't always taste that great to me. Like, I am totally cool with buying pre-peeled garlic, like full garlic cloves as a time saver, but certain time savers don't actually taste great. And I think that the minced garlic and minced ginger that comes in a jar don't taste great. But I've actually had the ones that are frozen in cubes, and that's not bad. But I think fresh ginger does taste really good. And what I do is I keep it, I mean, those of you who follow me a lot, I talk about this tip all the time. I just keep ginger in the freezer, and then I use a microplane to grate the frozen ginger, and it becomes like ginger snow, and all of the hairy part is like trapped in here, and so it just melts into the soup.
Could you...
Yeah, are you learning a lot, Bo?
Yes. Very helpful. I throw away a lot of bad ginger.
Yeah, and it goes bad so fast.
Yes, it gets wet.
Or it gets moldy, and so you should just keep it in the freezer.
Oh, that's
Could
a great
you use
tip.
a ground meat instead of the pork?
Yes, you can totally use, you can use ground pork, you can
Yes.
use ground beef, you can use ground chicken. Guys, there's really no right way. Because as I said, it's not necessarily like an authentic dish. You can kind of adapt it to whatever you have. So it's coming back to a simmer because when I added the arrowroot slurry in, it was cold. And so you want to bring it back to a simmer, and it is thickened a little bit. I don't want it super goopy because I think that's gross. But once it comes up to a boil and I can see it all bubbling here, I'm going to turn this off. And then I'm going to, this 2 whisked eggs, I'm going to be stirring this as I pour this in. And it should become little clouds of eggs upon contact.
Yay. Also,
wait, I have to still season it with the other seasoning. Okay. And so this is all stuff you do with the heat turned off. But obviously, this was just simmering, so it's still super hot. You can see, I don't know, can you zoom in, Owen? And
I'm zoomed in as I can get.
Okay, but you can see
the
the
egg. You can see, yeah.
The egg is all kind of this wispy egg stuff, but I gotta put in the seasoning. So I gotta put in the stuff that actually makes it hot and sour. So this is the ground white pepper.
Ooh, it's
half
new.
a teaspoon. No, it's not.
Oh,
I just
never mind.
No, yeah. And depending on how fresh it is, you may need a little more. So just half a teaspoon, and you would be surprised. Half a teaspoon is pretty potent. And then a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. Ooh, I can totally smell it. No, without the thing. And I like to do this off the heat because I think if you cook it with all the vinegar, I think it actually changes the flavor, and it's more kind of sharp and bright when you add it at the end. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil.
Makes everything better.
And then you should taste it for salt, because depending on the broth that you use, this one is an unseasoned one, and so I may need extra salt. Oh, and then someone had asked if this was shelf stable. No, this is in the refrigerator section. I've also seen it in the freezer, but it's in the refrigerator section. And it is super gelatinous.
Also, do you peel the ginger before or after freezing? And how long can ginger be frozen?
I need some salt. I'm really lazy, so I just throw in the whole knob of ginger, like unpeeled. And You can keep it in the freezer for, if you keep it like tightly sealed and there's no freezer burn, you can probably keep it for a few months. This looks really good. I'm gonna put some fresh scallions on top. I'm gonna try that again. But see, it was really simple and it was all done in less than 30 minutes. Yes, the chopping can take a little bit of time at the beginning, but not that much time. And oh, this is hot and I'm burning my hand.
Does this reheat well?
That's a good question. It, I'm gonna add a little more salt. I definitely think that it's not quite as hot and sour when you reheat it, and then it doesn't kind of have the thickness that some people like. But I definitely do reheat it because I always have leftovers when I cook stuff. But you can't keep it in the fridge for probably more than 4 days because it's a soup, and soup is always a really great media for, bacteria growth. I don't freeze it because I think I think freezing definitely makes it not as hot and sour. And it takes so little time to make that I think you should just make it fresh. And then it's okay in your fridge for a few days.
And what brand sesame oil did you use?
Oh, I used La Torrangelle. And these are all things I buy myself, not anything that's like sponsored. So I'm gonna cut some scallions. I'm gonna put this in I'm gonna scoop this up because this is our dinner. So there's really not that many vegetables in there, except for like the bamboo shoots, which I don't really count as vegetables. And so I actually roasted a tray of broccoli that we can have with it. And you can also add like baby spinach or some watercress in here if you just wanted to make it a one-pot meal with vegetables. And so I'm just slicing 2 stalks of scallions kind of on the diagonal because it looks a little prettier. And that's about it. It's not super hot and it's not super sour, so I think your kids will be okay drinking it. And even adults like Bo. Here, Bo, you can try it. And it's okay if you don't like it, you can be truthful. Because I'll give you a little one to try.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, you don't have to have more. I have leftover cauliflower rice for her if she doesn't want it. I can hear Ollie sniffling in the...
Yeah, now that the burner's off, it's
Here, I'm going to put a little here.
fancy.
Ollie, how are you feeling? Really? You don't sound good. Here, you can try it, and I'll give a little to Owen.
Thank you.
Because it's actually going to be your dinner. I'm going to make it.
And what do you serve this with?
So, I think if you made like my Asian cauliflower rice would taste delicious with this. Because there aren't a ton of vegetables, I would just make a vegetable side dish. But there's like pork in here.
And how many winners are there?
Huh?
How many winners?
Oh, one winner today.
Oh, one.
One winner. One winner is going to win both of my cookbooks that I will sign and personalize. A mini Michelle action figure. How is it, Bo?
It's very good. I actually like it very much better than restaurants because it's not as sour.
And it's not bright red. Like when you
Exactly.
get it at a restaurant, they put food coloring in it.
Right.
Because people are like, why is it all red?
I would drink this anytime compared to a restaurant.
Wow, Bo.
Okay.
I need to pay you more.
No, this is very tasty. I like the balance, and it's not extreme spicy, and it's not extremely sour.
Thank you.
Yay.
See, Bo, you're the best. You can come every Wednesday.
Okay,
And
I'll
you
be
can
a good audience.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And then I have to make one. Okay, so Lauren is going to pick a winner from all the comments and questions. Are there any other questions? And then I have, oh, and I was saying, so because there aren't that many vegetables in here, make a vegetable side dish. So you can stir fry some bok choy or spinach or do what I did and throw a tray of
Could I get a non-metal flute?
yeah, a tray of seasoned broccoli in my toaster oven, and we're going to have it with roasted broccoli.
Yay. Okay. We haven't gotten the winner yet.
That's okay.
Well,
Are there any
two
other
more
questions?
questions.
Here. But this is good for colds. I think it would taste good if you're not feeling well, or at least that's what I'm going to tell Ollie. He'll be like, ooh, it's hot and sour. Ollie, you want to come drink soup? You don't have to be on camera if you don't feel good.
Oh,
But you have to eat anyway.
Sorry.
I can give you a bigger one, Bo.
No, I'm good for now.
Yeah, so you don't really like it.
No.
I'm just
I
kidding.
can add more to the smaller bowl when I'm done.
I'm just kidding.
No, one less dish to wash.
Here, Ollie, here's your. I'll give you some cauliflower. Yes, you can be totally off camera. Go on the other side.
Wow, who thought that half a teaspoon of white pepper can make it so spicy already?
Right, and it's not, but it's not like a crazy,
not
like,
that
oh, I
spicy.
can't drink anymore. But
Right.
there's definitely like a kick to it.
Right, don't
And it's-
underestimate
Right,
white pepper kick.
and white pepper
Oh,
is
wow.
very,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So
not
there-
that spicy.
it's not
Yeah.
that spicy, but there's like a,
But there's a
Not a lot.
lingering
I'll help you.
hotness.
there is a lingering hotness, and it's very, it's like very traditional to hot and sour soup. Like this is the flavor. Like if you didn't have black pepper, you'd be like, something is missing.
We have a winner. The
Yay!
winner is Suzanne McIntosh.
Suzanne McIntosh.
I don't know.
think
I
it's
can't
McIntosh.
pronounce things. There's no A.
Do you guys have enough meat in yours? Because there's all this meat at the bottom. Here, I'll give you
I
some more
haven't.
meat.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, I give you both meat. Don't worry.
Oh.
So Suzanne,
You win the thing.
you win the thing, and I will pack it and tell me. You can either send me a direct message. Oh, it's so small. I'm gonna burn you.
That's okay.
I'm gonna send me a direct message to tell me who you want the bits made out to, and then I will send it out. But thank you for tuning in. Hot and sour soup, super simple. As you can see here, there's no crazy ingredients. Recipes on my blog, in Ready or Not Cookbook, and on our app. I won't be here next week, but we will be back the following week. And I will see you then. Bye, guys.